Big recognition. Mr. Frost.
No, I just have a question for my colleague from the state of Louisiana, because I'm curious as to where your bill is. Louisiana is the state with the second highest rate of deaths in this nation. You are more likely to be shot standing on a random street in your state than you are in Washington, D.C. So my question is, where's your bill for the occupation of the state of Louisiana to keep your people safe, if you're at all sincere in this?
Gentleman, yield for an answer.
I yield for an answer.
I support state rights. I'm a constitutionalist.
But not D.C.?
Stand by. As a constitutionalist, I support my state, my sovereign state's legislature, which is doing everything it can to push back upon the crime rate of the Democrat-controlled cities.
Okay,
of
so
New Orleans,
I'll take my time back. I'll take my time back.
If you remove
That's the rules.
the crime stats
That's the
of New
rules.
Orleans,
I'll take my time back. I'll take my time back. So you only invoke the rules when other people are speaking, not when you're speaking. Okay.
That's your time.
I agree with you. Look, I'm for state sovereignty. So what do you think about California?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm your independent political analyst, no spin, no tribalism, just facts, context, and thoughtful commentary. Today, I want to talk about a heated exchange on Capitol Hill that really shines a spotlight on two big issues: crime and Washington, D.C. statehood. The back and forth involved Representative Maxwell Frost of Florida and a colleague from Louisiana. It was passionate, it was messy at times, and it raised some serious questions worth unpacking. Let me walk you through what happened.
Well, California is not where I live. You asked me about my state.
See, you only care, and I'll reclaim my time. I'll reclaim my time. I'll reclaim my time. I'll reclaim my time. I will reclaim my time. The gentleman will stop speaking. I will reclaim my time. You're more likely to be shot standing in a random street in your state,
this is Mr. Frost time,
than anywhere in Washington, D.C. And you're here because you're lapdogs to the President of the United States, who during the election last year, we said time and time again, I reclaim my time.
Down, Mr. Chairman.
All right, hold on.
My colleague just called me a lapdog for the President of the United States. I move for his words to be taken down.
A second.
We'll stand in recess for a second here. We will suspend to see about taking the words down.
Go through. Yeah. So, Elijah.
Mr. Chairman, I ask unanimous consent to withdraw my remark.
Gentleman's asked unanimous consent to withdraw his remarks. Without objection, so ordered. We will proceed with the debate. The words were taken down, and
I will continue with the reminder.
Point of order.
Mr. Frost has 3 minutes. Okay, point of order.
My point was that Mr. Frost has a right to his time.
Yeah,
Unobstructed time, an opportunity to speak. And I think if we afforded him that right under the rules, then we wouldn't have this back and forth.
That's fine. He started by asking if people would yield to a question. I think that's how it all started.
He reclaimed his time, at least a half a dozen times.
I'm giving him 3 minutes. Well, even though I don't have to because of the rules, I'm giving him 3 minutes.
You're running this hearing, sir.
Okay, I'm giving.
Not a spectator.
Okay, you got 3 minutes, Mr. Frost. Go ahead.
This body is full of lapdogs, doing exactly what the president wants, when he wants it, not pushing back. And what we just heard, this exchange with me and my colleague, is indicative of the problem here. None of you know anything about Washington, D.C. You're talking about a so-called, walking down the street and talking with people that are walking their dogs, people in the restaurants you go to, which might not be full of people from D.C. anyway. And it's just sad. It is sad. We need D.C. statehood. There are people, yes, we need D.C. statehood. We need to put this behind us. We need to stop. It's wild to me that we're here debating with people from the Republican Party, a party that's supposed to be about states' rights and local rule and the consent of the governed, which is fundamental to our Constitution and this country. But before you, we have activists, organizers, people who are here to say that they want a voice. They want to be represented by the government that they pay taxes to. Free D.C. Free D.C. And it's just grand to sit here with other members who have higher murder rates than Washington, D.C., but not invite the president to occupy their own state with the military. So I think it's important that we're here today to have this debate, because this is a debate about what's going on in Washington, D.C., and why every American should be concerned. And why, of course, every American should be concerned about what the president's doing, but in many cases, even more concerned about the fact that Congress and that Republicans in Congress want to do nothing about it, and in fact, they want to enable it and do anything the president says. The gentleman couldn't even answer the question about if the bill was drafted with the White House. We know it was drafted with the White House. And so we say free D.C., and we'll continue to fight for the people of Washington, D.C., who deserve for their home to be a state, who deserve for their local officials that they voted for, their city council, their members, to make decisions about how to make sure that this is a safer place. And I gotta say, when we talk about crime, when we talk about violence, gun violence has been going down in this country the last 3 years. We still have a lot of work to do, but you guys talk about it and nothing happens. We put forth solutions and pass bills like the Safer Communities Act, and violence goes down in this country. That's the difference between us.
Representative Frost pressed his colleague from Louisiana about crime. He pointed out that Louisiana has one of the highest death rates in the country and argued that people are statistically more likely to be shot on the streets of Louisiana than in Washington, D.C. His sharp question was this: if crime is a justification for federal oversight in Washington, then where's the bill to occupy Louisiana to keep people safe? The Louisiana lawmaker responded by defending state sovereignty. He made the case that crime in Louisiana is for his state's legislature to deal with, not the federal government. In his words, he's a constitutionalist, and he supports his state's right to govern itself. Now, that's where things spiraled. The two kept interrupting each other, reclaiming their time, and talking over one another. At one point, Frost accused his colleague of being a lapdog to the president, which triggered a procedural fight. The Louisiana member demanded that the words be taken down. Eventually, after a short recess, Frost withdrew the remark, and the hearing moved forward. But once Frost regained the floor, he used his time to make a bigger argument. His central point was that Republicans, who often speak about states' rights and local rule, seem inconsistent when it comes to Washington, D.C. He argued that the people of D.C. pay taxes, serve in the military, and live under federal laws, yet don't have the full representation of statehood. His call to action was free D.C. Frost also highlighted what he saw as hypocrisy. Some Republican lawmakers represent states with even higher murder rates than Washington, D.C., yet they don't call for federal occupation in their own districts. Instead, they single out D.C. while ignoring issues close to home. Finally, Frost pointed to the Democrats' track record on crime legislation. He mentioned the Safer Communities Act, a bipartisan bill passed in 2022, and argued that gun violence had been trending downward over the last 3 years. His claim was that Democrats are putting forward solutions, while Republicans mostly talk without acting. So, how should we look at all of this as neutral observers? Well, first, both sides raise valid points. The Louisiana lawmaker is right that crime is typically handled at the state and local level. Federal occupation of states would be extreme and arguably unconstitutional. His appeal to state sovereignty has historical grounding. At the same time, Frost is highlighting a glaring contradiction. If the principle is local control for Louisiana, why isn't that same principle applied to D.C.? This is where the debate over D.C. statehood comes in. More than 700,000 residents live in the district, pay federal taxes, and yet don't have voting representation in Congress. That's a real democratic deficit, and it's fair for Frost to call it out. On crime specifically, both sides often cherry pick. Yes, Louisiana does have some of the highest murder rates in the country. Yes, D.C. has also faced serious spikes in violence in recent years. But crime is complex, and national trends matter too. Frost is correct that gun violence has come down slightly since its pandemic-era peak, but it remains a persistent challenge across urban and rural America alike. My takeaway? This exchange shows how political debates about crime and statehood often collapse into partisan point scoring rather than constructive dialogue. Frost made sharp points about consistency and representation, but his lapdog comment distracted from his larger argument. Meanwhile, the Louisiana lawmaker stuck to state sovereignty but sidestepped the harder question of why D.C. should be treated differently. In the end, the clash underscores why D.C.'s statehood remains such a divisive issue. At its core, it's not just about crime or local control, it's about power in Congress, representation, and whether Americans living in the capital should be given the same voice as those living in the 50 states. And that's a debate that isn't going away anytime soon. Thanks for watching. As always, I'd love to hear what you think. Should Washington, D.C. become a state, or should it remain under unique federal oversight? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more balanced political analysis.